Close your eyes, palms together. The blessings from the God's goddess, non-living Purush. Till you are done, slowly open your eyes. I hope you can clearly hear me.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's start with today's. This is the continuation of the Venus Graha, Shukra Graha. Before we enter into the class, just stay this one slide for at least 30 seconds. Then we will continue our class. Only for 30 seconds. Few more seconds. Okay, one interesting thing about this Kalapurusha chart is, if you notice the Mithuna, Simha, and the Dhanu, Kumbha, these four rashis didn't have any exaltation, any debilitation. And the owner is different people. One is Mercury, one is Buddhan, Suryan, Guru, and the Sunny. These four owner, the lords didn't have any exaltation, debilitation in one particular rasi. Interestingly, this is Simha is the only one Rasi, which is only one Graha, which is having only one Rashi. The other three are having the two different Rashis, correct? How the Mithuna was having the Buddhan having the Mithuna and the Kanya, Guru having the Dhanu and the Meena, Sunny having the Makara and the Kumbha. So the one point you always keep in remember that Mithuna, Simha, Dhanu, and the Kumbha didn't have any exaltation, any debilitation. Okay, let's getting into our class now. We are starting in the Venus in the Mithuna. When the Shukra in the Mithuna, how the significance will be, what are the characteristics when the Shukra in the Mithuna Rasi. Let's first understand what is the Mithuna. Mithuna Rashi is the third from the Kalapurusha chart, and the Yar is the element dual in nature. That means these people didn't have the stable in nature. Their mind is won't be steady as well as won't be floating all the time. They are in the middle, and the Yar gives the strength to move forward. And the male is an energy, that means their force is really strong. When even though they are moving, the energy will be highly, very strong comparatively with the female energy. So here the energy is the male energy. The owner of the Rashi is the Buddhan, that is Mercury. There was no exaltation, no debilitation. Now we are going to see what is that significance in when the Venus in the Mithuna. Okay, this is we understand from the Philemon principle. It is the Yari in nature, Yari and dual in nature. Male is the energy, owner is the Mercury. But we have to compare here against. Anybody saying something? And we have to see the energy of the Venus as well as the Mercury. Okay. Why we need to consider the Mercury? Mercury is the owner and the Venus is the Graha which is in the Mithuna. That means here. So who is the owner? Mercury is the owner. We need to consider the Mercury also. Why? Because when the Graha was in the Rashi, we have to consider the who's the owner of the Rashi also. Okay, now here comes the question. Anybody asking something?
No.
Okay. What is the relationship between the Venus and the Mercury? Friend, enemy, neutral? Anybody remember this?
I think it's neutral, maybe.
Mercury and the Shukra. Enemy?
They are friends.
The friends. Why?
That is the prince and...
Yeah, friends. Why that? if you want to easily remember this one, remember one point about the Shukra.
Mercury hates Sun and he is Asura's guru. So
Yeah, Shukracharya is the Asura clan Acharya. That is correct. Mercury is the princess. That is also correct. But how come you can relate this both of these people? Shukracharya is the art and culture minister. In the if you see the cabinet of the ministers, Venus belongs to the art and culture. The prince is always interested in the art and culture, not the young prince is always interested in intelligence and he want to try something which is beautiful, which is want to try the arts and the culture. So both these peoples are their ideas are matching with each other, right? This is for our easily remembering the things. That's why the story comes into the picture. So Venus is the art and culture minister, and the Mercury is the young prince. So both the tastes are matched so that they become the friends. There is one more friend for Venus. Who's that?
Surya. Sorry.
Only except remember, except the Venus, there is only 6 grahas only, right? Exclude this Venus because we are comparing the Venus against the other 6 grahas only. For Venus, Moon and the Sun are enemy for sure. Why? Because Sukracharya belongs to the Asura clan. Then the Surya and the Chandra belongs to the Devatas. So they are the king and the queen. Definitely, they are against each other only. So they become the enemy. Venus, Moon, and the Sun. Sorry, Sun and the Moon enemy to Venus. This we exclude this two among the 6 grahas. Then there was a one. Mercury is a friend we already know. Remaining 3 people. Who are they?
You want the friends of Shukra?
Yeah, one more friend. There was one friend is Mercury. We understand that.
Shani and Rahu are friends of Shukra.
Leave the Rahu and Ketu now. When we are studying this concept,
Then Shani. The other friend is Shani.
And then the second friend is the Sunny.
Shukra.
Okay, there is what two more grahas. What are they?
Jupiter?
Jupiter and Mars. Mars is neutral.
Mars and the Jupiter are neutral to the Venus. So once you understand the enemy, once you understand the friend, remaining grahas will be the neutral to them. So we know the
But
Venus.
Jupiter is the enemy of Venus, right? Because they are opposite.
But they are acharyas, right? That's why the energy is neutral. Then for if you see in the Guru, when you study about the Guru Graha, who's the enemy for the Guru?
Okay, I have made a list where Shukra is enemy there. So is the case for Shukra. Guru
Shukra
is
is the
enemy.
enemy.
So
Enemy is the enemy. Okay, let's go back to the story which I told you earlier. The one time Shukracharya and Brihaspati studying in the same schools under the same Guru. But why Sukracharya left the school? Because of his father, which is
favoritism.
because of the Brihaspati's father was not that much treat the students equally. So he left the place. He's not against the Brihaspati because both of them are Acharya, but they went and but they take the different paths. But this is about the story for our remembrance only. Their story will come in a different angles. There are many folk tales also regarding Sukracharya and Brihaspati. But for our understanding now, let's go in this way. But when you are saying this, let me confirm that also. Because in my remembrance, I believe the Venus is the neutral to Brihaspati. Let me confirm this. Give me 1 second. Mars and the Jupiter are neutral only. Yeah, I'm sure about that.
Okay,
Once you said,
I will change my table then.
once you said, I also got, I also want to double check because I remember this way. When I usually when I come into the relationship, I totally forgot everything. Then one point in time, I make it as very easy. I remember only the friends and the enemies. Then I make the remaining grahas is the neutral. So for the Venus, it's very much easy. Why? Venus enemies are the sun and the moon only. Then the friend is the Mercury because why Mercury? Young prince, and he needs he interested in the art and culture. Okay. Then one more person is the Sunny because when the people who hate the Surya definitely they like Sunny. Okay, Venus come into that category because Venus don't like Surya in any manner. Then if the people hate the sun, then definitely they will love the sunny. That becomes the Mercury and the sunny friends, and the moon and the sun becomes the enemy. The remaining grahas is the neutral. So why we need to remember this one? Then that comes the question. When the sometimes we may forgot one point while we are analyzing the point where the grahas in which rasi, we may forgot the grahas are in the enemy place or in the neutral place or in the friend's place. Why? Because when, as a human, when we are going into the friend's home, we definitely feel comfortable, right? But consider you don't like the one person and you treat them as an enemy when you went into the home, how you feel. Same thing goes for this energy level also. So at this point in time, we have to see when the graha was in the one rasi, we have to understand whether they are, what is the relationship. They are the friends, enemies, or the neutral. For them, Venus in the Mithuna, they are friends. So now there was a green signal. So that means this Venus was sitting in a very good place. Okay, then what is the next step? We have to understand what are the characteristics of the Venus, what are the characteristics of the Mercury. Okay, wow, what are the main characteristics of the Venus?
Attractive,
Attractive, attractive,
art and culture.
art and culture.
Intelligent also.
What is it?
Intelligent.
Intelligent is Mercury. Okay, let's
Oh.
go with an intelligent. Yeah, of course, the Venus is an intelligent, but his intelligence was intelligence towards the art and culture.
Oh.
Definitely, Venus is an very great intelligent person. The people who have a very good Venus, they are intelligent in their own field, particularly in the art and culture. They are art and culture means it includes everything. The blanket is very wide. It comes under a number of the music, dance, all kind of an arts. So if the person was in the good in the art and culture, and if he is a master of an art and culture, definitely the Venus was in the very good place. Okay, that intelligence goes to Venus as well. But the intelligence, if you see this as a very vast way, then belongs to the Mercury. But his intelligence is the young intelligence. What does it mean? He's just a young prince. He's getting in all kind of the knowledge. For example, consider the two peoples. One people was reading the books all the time. He get tremendous amount of the knowledge in him. There was another person. He lives for a very long time. He read most of the books. He mastered it, but he's also applied in his life. The first person is the Mercury. Second person is the Guru, because the person who using is the wisdom is the Guru, and the person who's still developing stage. He's developing his intelligence, but he's very much intelligent. Very much means he knows everything. What he was speaking, what he was telling, he was very much intelligent. So that intelligence goes to Mercury also. Then the most important thing about the Venus is the luxury, all kind of the luxury. Any kind of beauty related products that comes under the Venus one. If you, for example, if you beautifying a small mirror, that energy belongs to the Venus. If it is a plain mirror without any decoration, that goes to the sun itself. But if it is decorated, anything which is decorated, that belongs to the Venus. Consider a shop which is very plain and it was very beautiful. That belongs to the moon. But consider a situation, the same shop, but it was well decorated and it shows the luxury in every way, then that energy belongs to the Venus. So any exaggerated beautiness, any kind of the luxury thing, any kind of the luxury lifestyle belongs to Venus only. Any other thing? Luxury only I have to put.
Romance, love,
Yeah, romance, love. Okay, the
Great.
love belongs to Mercury. Okay, you may heard about this. If the person, if the Jataka was having the Mercury and the Mars together in any ways, if they are respecting, if they are joined together, definitely they will register their marriage in very early age. That means what is that? If they fall in love very easy.
Fun and enjoyment.
What is it?
For Venus, fun and enjoyment. People
Fun and enjoyment. Correct. Fun and enjoyment. Okay, let's come into the Mercury. Mercury is an intelligent and the love is also with the Mercury. Then any other thing? If you see about any kind of the documents, document related thing, that comes under Mercury only. Any kind of the documents. Even if you are buying a home house, it comes with the Mars. But if there is a document related with that property, that comes under the Mercury. If you decorated the home, that comes under the Venus. Okay, any other thing? It comes into the Mercury relation. Any relation for the Mercury? Okay, now I don't want to confuse you with the Mercury relation. Okay, I give you an example. Aunt and for the Venus, it's the spouse for the male Jataka. The wife is the Venus. Wife is represented as the Venus. If the Venus was in a good place or Venus was in a good state, then definitely his life partner will be very beautiful. Okay, now based on the very small amount of the information we had, let's compare against the point. The Venus, when the Venus and the Gemini, they are cheerful and the childlike. Okay, before one more thing, the very important thing about the Mercury is if the Mercury was in the if any Rasi which is in the Mercury, I mean Buddhan Rasi, that is Mithuna and the Kanya, or any of the Mercury's nakshatra, the Rasi was in the Mercury's Buddha nakshatra, then these people have at least little bit of the comedy sense in them. When you're speaking, if they have the Rasi in the very good place, the Graha was in the Rasi of the Mithuna and the Kanya, definitely they will have little bit of at least little bit of the comedy sense. When you're speaking also, naturally the comedy will come out from them. If you check the Jataka of most of the stand-up comedians, particularly the successful stand-up comedians, you can see that definitely the Buddhan or the Rashi which is in the Mercury or the Rashi Graha which is in the Mercury Rashi should be in a very good position. That will tell you about the communication skill, particularly when you're speaking, their communications will be increased. Okay, now combine it together. When the Venus was in the Mithuna, definitely these people are cheerful and the childlike in nature. So this point is interestingly matched with it. Most of the time, when there was a Graha in the Mithuna, these peoples are much more frank in any of the Graha in any of the Rasi. These peoples are more frank than anybody. They are open, they are very direct in nature, they are friendly and sociable. One important thing, because of this open and direct nature, sometimes they get into trouble also. But their friendly nature is the only savior for them. Very learned, obviously, when the Venus and the Mercury are combined together, these people are definitely intelligent. You may ask, Vanita, I know a person who's in Mercury in the Mithuna Rasi, sorry, Venus in the Mithuna Rasi, but he is not studied well. But don't compare against the study which is holding a degree. These people are learned in a different way. They are learned the art and culture. They are very good dance, but they may not study anything. don't come when I say very learned means it's not about the degree they are holding. It is about how they are learned in any of the field, any of the art and culture. They may be the very good musician, they may be the very good instrument player. He or she may be the very good dancer in any of the dance. He may be a painter. He may create any kind of the objects which is really really attractive to the eyes, or any of the objects they may create eye catch to everybody. They may be the designers, but they may not hold the degree. Remember that point. Very learned means they learned the art and culture in different ways. And knowledge of thought and culture, obviously, when the Mercury and the Venus was combined together, you can't avoid this. Their art and culture was inbuilt in them. When the Jataka was born itself, we can easily say when the Venus was in the Mithuna, definitely their art and culture was inbuilt with them. Good oratory skills. Why? Because Venus is in the Mithuna. Interestingly, when you see the Venus which is in the different rashis, that is totally different. Even I will show you the difference also when the Venus in the Gemini, when the Venus in the Kanya. Both are the different in nature. But the Mithuna Rasi have the capacity because the ruler is the Mercury. Mercury, which is having the good communication skill. Obviously, this is also part of the Venus in Gemini. Welcome. Then optimistic, positive. Most of the time, not when you compare against most of the Jatakas, when the Graha, particularly Venus in the Mithuna, they always think positive. Even there was 100 things negative in front of them, they will find at least one positive. That kind of the thought process people. Okay, there was also science behind it, the optimistic and positive nature. Why? If you the energy level which we are acquiring, most of the time, their Anataka chakra is it's worked very well. That means it's performed very well. The lower chakras are in a very stable state. When these people's when the Venus in the Mithuna, that is the Mercury, the Buddhan Rasi, which is holding the good graha, that means the lower chakra perform well. Then you may ask him, what is the chakra? All kind of like invisible nadis. In Tamil, they will say Nalamilla Shuraligal. That means invisible nadis, which is working for every human being. They are stable in nature. When it was in the lower chakras. For these people, particularly the Anadaka chakra, that is the nadis which is combining in your center of your chest, that becomes very strong. The cosmic energy which is coming into balancing them in Anadaka chakra will be very good. That's why this people's positive thinking was really high when compared against the other people. When their positive thinking was high, when I say this, the chakra thing, you may not understand, or you may understand very well, or you may contradict with me. If you didn't understand this particular part, don't worry. You can skip that part. This may not, when you combine the yoga and astrology, you will coming into this kind of the conclusion. If it was vague for you, don't worry, you leave that part. Okay. Always hopeful with a new expectation. Why? Here is an interesting point about the Mercury. The Mercury is the young prince. The Venus was interested in inventing a new thing. He's a creator, good creator. The Venus, the Shukra won't be stopped against anything which is conventionally followed. Venus always goes against anything which is conventionally followed. It takes its own path. Same time, it is in the place of the Mercury, that is the Buddha Rasi. Mercury have the tendency to learn new things, to understand every aspect in the life. It won't be stopped. For example, we feel that, okay, I understand this one aspect in the life, okay, I want no. He try to invent, he want to learn more things. So when this combined together, they always hopeful with the new expectation. Okay. Natives cannot contain their feelings. Most of the time, they won't contain their feelings themselves. They expressed in one way or the other. How come it is possible? They may express in the form of an art and culture. They express themselves in the dance. they express in the writing, in any form of an art and culture, they express their feeling. That's why they are very much included in the art and culture. Till now, any doubts here?
When you say natives, Venus in Gemini,
Native means the Jataka. Jataka, considered one, you are seeing one Jataka and Jatakam. The Jataka was having a Venus in the Mithuna. Okay, like
got it. Okay.
Venus
Native
in the
means
Mithuna.
Jataka.
At that time, this person was not cold their feeling. There is also some Rasi, particularly the water element Rasi, cooled their feelings within themselves. They won't, they hold the grudge for very, very long time. Particularly if you see the Vrichchiga Rasi people, they hold their energy for a very long time. Okay? But these people, they won't hold themselves with the kind of any kind of the feeling. They let out in any form, any kind of an art and culture. Why this energy was combined? This much clear?
Is it applicable for all graha which is water
Oh.
in nature? No, only
No,
Vrishika.
for the okay, for the water element, what are the rasis we have? Kadaka,
Meena,
this one, Vrachika, and the Meena.
Meena.
Okay. But here there was one interesting thing. This is equivalent to the sea.
Oh,
And
okay. Volume is high.
yeah, this is like a pond which is stagnant water. The Vrishika Rasi is a stagnant water. It was like this one was like a lake. So when the stagnant water means they are holding themselves, they are holding with their feelings. But these people will flood like their feelings like anything. They let out, but still they are highly emotional. Sometimes they won't tell anything. But most of the time, this Vrichchiga people, the peoples who are belongs to Vrichchiga Rasi, they won't express themselves to anybody. They know, they only about themselves very clearly. Even there was one interesting thing about the Vrichchiga Rasi was they know about everybody. Even if they see for you, if he or she see for you for a very first time, they understand you very well. You can't understand them because they hold their feelings within themselves. You can't even read them or read their mind even for once. Okay, this is out of syllabus for Venus. Okay, I'll erase this. Okay, one additional point. When the Venus was in the Mithuna, this may will come into effect when there was in the Dasha or Dasha Buddhi period. But if you have this as the Rasi Adipati or the Lagna Adipati, this will be effective for all the time in your life. This point is clear?
Can you just repeat that again?
Okay, when considered, you are having the Lagna as the Venus. Consider this one. Okay, I will show you two different charts. Okay, give me. Okay, for the first one, this one, the Lagna is the Mithuna Lagna. In the Lagna itself, you have the Venus. Okay, for this point definitely will be true for them for their entire life. Because the Lagna representing the self, the Lagna is the Jataka who we are reading. So the Graha which is present as Venus. So this definitely, this characteristic will match for them. Okay, this one point. And here in this chart, here we are seeing Lagna can be anything. But when the moon and the Venus are combined, what is his meaning? This person is Mithuna Rasi. Why? Why Mithuna Rasi? Because the moon was present. That's why the Jataka's Rasi is the Mithuna Rasi. Venus is present in it. And additionally, here the story was a little bit different when combined with the moon. I skipped that point here. But one point you have to remember, this is the Rasi Adipati. Consider this is the Rasi Adipati. Rasi Adipati means the moon. Okay, not to confuse here. Let's see only the Lagna now. When we are combined with the moon, then I will tell you that point. Consider this is the Lagnadipati. The Lagnadipati is the Mithuna, and the Venus is in the Mithuna. So Lagnadipati is the Buddhan, and the Venus was in the Mithuna Rasi. So this character won't change for them for their entire life. Because when you see most of them will coming into effect when there was a Dasha Buddhi was happening. Okay, at this point, you have to remember when the Lagnadipati or Rasi Adipati, the Rasi Adipati we'll see later, consider the Lagnadipati. This combination won't change for the lifetime. The Lagnadipati means it won't be dependent on the Dasha or the Buddhi, it will be for their entire life. But when there was a different Graha combination was there, that will come into effect when there was a Dasha Buddhi combination was happening. That time will effect is very high. I will tell you one example. Consider there was a point where you having the Mars Dasha was happening. Okay, here. Consider you have the Mars Dasha was happening, and you have the Mars and the Saturn. Most of the time till your life, the Mars and Saturn will be there. It effects will be will be spread to consumed by the Jataka. It will be there. Mars Saturn combination, whatever the significance, whatever the characteristic, definitely the Jataka will have to be live with that. But when the Mars Dasha was happening, whatever the negative which is implied for this combination will be really, really very high. The same goes for any Graha combination. But this one will be different when the Lagnadipati, when the Graha combination was in the Lagnadipati, that combination will be with your lifetime. Okay. If you didn't understand this one point, leave it. I will make you to understand later point in the lessons as well. I just want to make you to familiar with this point. The Graha combination will get more effective when the Dasha Buddhi was happening. If the Lagnadipati and the Graha was combined or respect each other or in this own house or in any kind of combination or Parivardhana was happening, that moment there, the Parivardhana is totally different, so leave that point. But the Lagnadipati and the Rasi, Lagnadipati and the Graha combination will be with you for lifetime. But if you didn't understand this point, don't worry. We are going to see the examples later point in time in our classes. That time you will definitely understand that. This is okay? Can move on?
Yeah.
Okay, now coming into the Venus in the Cancer. This is very interesting one. Why? Because this one is the water element. Let's understand the five element principle first. Then we'll see the Venus and the Moon. Then we will getting into this point later. From the Kalapurusha chart, it is the fourth Rasi. Water is the element, movable in nature, female quality. Sorry, female energy. Water means the water is the flowing water. Okay. But that's why it was a movable. The movable means these people won't hold their grudge for a very long time, but they won't be express themselves fully at the same time. Their energy is very soft. Here is the energy, is the female energy. These people, when you're speaking also, definitely it will be very soft comparatively with the male energy people. Okay, what is the meaning of the soft and the strong? Consider a person which is having the male energy and the female energy. For an example, if they are going for, if the male energy can go for 40 decibel, but the female energy for the 20 decibel. So that kind of a softness will be there. Even when you watch the people very closely, you can really understand their female energy was working or male energy was working. For even moving the right arm, you can easily understand when they are moving moving any of an object from one place to another. You can understand, okay, the male energy is working. Oh, the female energy working. You yourself also test and see. For most of the time, when I see the people while they're working, it was interesting to see. If the female energy was working, they touch the keyboard very softly. If the male energy was working, you can see the keyboard was a bang on your ears. Okay? Okay, what I'm trying to tell here was male and the female energy means the softness and the strong. It's not a weak energy, it's a soft. Okay. Moon is the moon. Here, exalted is the Jupiter Graha, depleted is the Mars. Okay, based on that, we'll move on into the Venus. Venus, we already know it is the luxury, all kind of the beauty products, all kind of the beautification in your life, art and culture. And he's a very funful person. And this the Venus is the one person can know how to enjoy the life. And the Rahu was a different story. He built the castle in the air, but leave the Rahu for the Venus is he or she knows how to enjoy the life, how to spend the money, how to beautify everything. The Venus is that kind of the person. When it comes into the moon, okay, now tell me what are the characteristics of the moon. Venus we already revised in the last. When comes into the moon, what will be that?
But moon is the enemy.
Yeah, we'll come into that. Definitely. Moon is the enemy. Yes, moon is the enemy. That's a good point. Venus plus moon. Venus is sitting in the enemy's house. Correct.
Yeah. Moon represents mind, signifies
Ah.
thoughts and emotions,
Hmm.
very complex
What is
psychologically.
the complex?
Psychologically.
And emotional also.
Yeah.
Complex psychological will comes when the moon was not in a good position. When the moon was in combination with the Chandra, Rahu and the Ketu, or in the very bad state, then the complex psychological thing will come. When the moon combined with the Sami Rahu Ketu, then the different psychological problem will come. But now consider this, we'll go with a very basic. Moon represents the mind, moon represents your thought process. Any other thing?
Nurturing quality,
Nurturing.
and it represents food and water also.
Food and water. Then
And
Mother.
Motherly.
mother. Mother or motherly nature, your nurturing quality comes when. But here the nurturing, I won't combined with the mother. The mother is the kind of the quality, but with the nurturing comes any kind of the human which is having a kind of the nurturing ability. They comes into the moon energy will play with them. Okay, based on that, we'll combine this. Now we understand moon represents our mind, moon represents our thought, and all kind of the nurturing food. Nurturing comes whatever the food, whatever the things we are, and motherly nature, everything comes under the moon. Then Venus, we know that he's in kind of an okay, even in the god, you there was for the Venus belongs to the goddess which is fully decorated, the goddess which is decorated from the head to toe belongs to the Sukra's energy. When the god was not decorated with anything, a simple sari and a flag garland on the neck, that's it, then that energy belongs to the moon. The Venus is then young girls, moon is an old women, or near the women's near to your mother's age. So they all belongs to the moon. How the contradictions will come, you understand it at this point itself, right? But here the Venus was sitting in the enemy's house. But you have to understand your enemy. The enemy is not a bad enemy. The enemy quality is kind of like he or she is the motherly nature, nurturing quality will be high. You are sitting in that kind of an enemy's house. Okay, based on that, we will come in to see when the Venus was in the Kadakaras. They are magnetic and charismatic. This comes from the Venus energy because Venus overcomes the moon's moon's energy. Venus is always a very charismatic person. When you saw what when you the person in front of you, they were attractive in any manner, based on the moments, based on the gestures, based on our eye contact, based on their way of speaking. If they are, if you feel they are very much attractive to you, definitely the Shukra was in a good place. The famous scholar means here comes the interesting thing. When Venus was sitting in the enemy's house, but at the same time, it's not a discomfortable enemy. So if the enemy was good enemy, such you can treat them as a very good enemy. Venus was very intelligent in every way. When combined with the moon, and this person becomes the scholar, and Kanjar is a famous scholar. Okay, anybody who was having a Venus in Kadaka Rasi? No? I forgot to ask you also, Venus and Gemini. Anybody was having Venus in Gemini or Venus in Kadaka Rasi? No? Okay. The third one, the third one is sensitive. This is because of the moon. Moon, most of the time, it's become sensitive. Why the sensitiveness coming? Because of the mind and the thoughts, the sensitiveness is really high. When there wasn't any graha in the Kadaka Rasi, they definitely will be emotion belongs to the significance of that Rashi. For example, consider the Kadaka Rasi is your Lagna and there was a Venus in it. You definitely will be a very charismatic and magnetic person and you will study really well. But additionally, you definitely sensitive and quickly get attached to the people. What does that mean? When you have the Kadaka Lagna and the Venus was in it, this is representing you. When it was in the second house, when you're having the Mithuna Lagna and the Kadaka becomes the second house, that is a total different story. Now you're seeing yourself. When the Kadaka Lagna, the Venus was there, you easily attach to every people. You just go and speak with them. There are the people, they don't, if they see the new people in front of them, they don't want to their in their aura for even for a single moment. But the Venus and the Kadaka Rasi people, they get attached with any new people. They never mind about it. They feel like they don't know about each other. They just go and speak with them. And also attached with them. The speaking is not a matter. When you are developing, when you are speaking with them, you are just communicating with others. But you are developing the relation. They are attached with them. They are attached in every way. That's why they become very much sensitive. Then you may ask the question, how come this is possible when the Venus was the joyful person, but how come the sensitiveness will come? Why the sensitivity will come? Because the Venus was sitting in the Kadaka Rasi. The moon is a sensitive Rasi. The moon energy is very much sensitive and your thought process has become much more aggressive, much more emotional when it was in the Kadaka Rasi. Okay, sympathetic to others. This is because the Venus was sitting in the moon. That is why the sympathetic to others. Okay, this is the good way of diplomatic way of saying sympathetic to others. But this is also a give a bad. This is also give the side effects to the Jataka. Why? Because when the peoples was easily attached to any number of the peoples and their emotional gods, every time they are going emotional drama, it becomes a drawback in their life. They feel like they are not moving, but their nature is movable. Remember, because of their emotion, they are stagnant at one place. Why? Because they're very much sensitive. They're sympathetic to others. The sympathy, if they don't know how to show empathy to others, they always show sympathy. They when consider the one person was telling a story to them, all kind of the story to them, they fall immediately. They feel like, okay, you are the only person in the world. You are going to save the person from all kind of the danger in a minute. So you will fall like that. When the Venus was in the Kadaka, your sympathy will go in such a high, like you are the only person in the universe. You are going to save that person. This becomes this is the diplomatic way of saying sympathetic to others, but this will give you the very great side effect to the Jataka. Okay, then the last one is the wise, because of the Venus, learned, strong, virtuous, and powerful in terms of social and the professional success. This is all because of the Venus in the Karka. Now you will understand. Okay, this point will you have to understand very clearly. Must avoid sulking and blaming themselves. Why this will come? The Kadaka Rasi people, because when they are easily attached with the other people, their emotional level is goes in roller coaster game. That moment they realized, they think like, okay, I'm the reason of this kind of the failure moments. Then they blame themselves. The self blame is the greatest virus in the world. They will fall into that trap. They feel like, okay, because of me I caused this situation, because of me I jumped into the this kind of the level. They blame themselves. This is the one important thing these people have been in the
I feel your audio is
I have one
breaking,
thing I
Vanita.
thought to say.
Anybody else feeling that?
My audio is breaking. How is it?
Yeah. In between it was breaking.
How is it now?
Yeah,
No, it
last
is-
sentence we could not make out what you said.
Now how is?
Now it is fine.
Oh, okay.
Again, we lost you.
Okay, I will repeat the same thing again. The one point which they have to avoid is, because of the sensitiveness, they attached with everybody. When they are attached with everybody, they went into the emotional trauma or emotional roller coaster ride. They encounter all kind of the traumas. Then they finally what they will conclude. Okay, this kind of a situation comes because of me only. This kind of the situation has become bad because of me. They self blame all the time when the situation not good for them. So one important thing they have to do is they have to avoid the blaming themselves. They must do this one point all the time. When the Venus was in the Kadaka Rasi. One second, give me a second. Give me a second.
We lost her again.
No, she said 1 second and went. I think she's attending to something.
Sorry, I'm back. Okay, the one thing we have to avoid about this is the last point. Okay, until here you have any doubts for the Venus and the Kadaka? Okay, this is one interesting thing before the doubt. I have to tell you one thing. When the same graha was in a friend's house, when the same graha which is in the enemy house, but the enemy is who's the enemy, then this kind of the characteristic will differ. Still, my voice is breaking.
Now, it's clear.
And still now, any doubts?
No. Okay. So you mean to say the Venus, if they are in the enemy houses, there will be intensified emotional attachment on the negative side, almost on the negative side.
Yeah,
It is to the extent of becoming possessive or something like that.
exactly. And the
Okay.
possessiveness goes in a very high, like one situation, consider a situation when the person was telling a story to them, I suffered this one, I suffered this way, and the opposite person, the person who's in the Venus and the Kadakarasi will think they are the only person going to save this person from their life. They feel like they are the only savior for them. But exactly when the situation revealed to them, the real situation when they understand, they blame themselves. Okay, I don't have the good judgment. I don't have the good luck with me. They're kind of the self-blame themselves. That's why the one thing they have to avoid is they have to avoid for blaming themselves. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to Venus in the Simha. This is a very interesting one. Okay, now we are going to see the same graha in a two different enemies. One is the moon, another one is the sun. Okay, here comes the interesting thing. First, we understand the five element. From the Kalapurusha, it was the fifth Rasi, Simha Rasi. Agni is the element. They are fixed in nature, the male energy. So the entire energy was really strong. There are the how many Agni Rasis will be there in the Kalapurusha chart?
3.
3.
One is the Mesha, Simha, and the Dhanush. You see, the Mesha is the movable, and the Simha is the fixed, and Dhanush is the dual. So the Mesha is the Mesha peoples don't hold their anger. If they get anger also, they will move from at least an hour. But the Simha peoples is not like that. They hold their anger for very long time. That's why the fixed energy will comes into picture. They are aggressive. They are very speed, but they are good in everything. They know what to do. Their administrative power is really high. Because of the fixed nature, they know. My voice is breaking. I'm hearing some sound.
No.
It's good.
Okay. The male energy is also strong. Now, who's the owner? Sun is the owner. And this is a one beautiful Rasi, which didn't have any exaltation and debilitation. Okay, now get into the Venus. We already know about Venus. Venus belongs to the luxury items, beautification items, all kind of the beauty products. You see any shop which is relevant to any kind of the beauty items, that belongs to the Venus only. And if you decorated your house, then Venus energy is also come. You then decorate, then if your house is very simple, then the moon energy will be there. So let's see about we already know about the Venus basic understanding, basic significance we already know. Let's get into the sun significance. What are the sun significance? Okay, here the Venus represent for if the male male Jataka, Venus represent the wife. Okay, now comes into the sun. Sun represent the father or father-in-law or any of the peoples who are leading you. Okay, that is in the relationship. The sun was representing that. Now, any significance about the sun? Any characteristic of the sun?
Very aggressive.
Aggressive.
Dominating, leading, leadership.
Dominating.
Authoritative.
Leadership quality.
Leadership, authority. Then they are very good dreamers.
Huh.
But
Oh.
sun dream is a daydream. Sun have vision. Whenever the sun was in a good position, these people have a greater vision. For example, if one person not having a good sun position and one person having a good sun position, what these people will think was the sun the sun good position Jataka will think 10 years, 20 years in their lives. That means they see the vision for a number of years ahead and they dream about their life. They dream about whatever they want to plan. But they didn't have the sun's energy, sufficient sun's energy in them. That Jataka will think only next hour only, may think next 2 days only. But they didn't have the higher vision. They didn't forecast anything. They don't want to forecast also. For example, if you go ahead and ask any of the people, okay, in 5 years, what are you going to do? If they have the clear-cut answer, definitely I will tell you they have the good sense energy. If you ask any of the person, what is in your 5 years, what are you going to do? If they are not saying anything, the sun's energy is somewhat not consumed by them sufficiently. Okay. Now with combined thing, with this combined of Suns and the Venus. Okay, one important Venus sitting in the enemy's house. His one of the topmost enemy was the Sun. Venus was sitting in the enemy's house. Last time also we saw Venus was sitting in the enemy's house. The mother was the moon was in such a way that the enemy, but is the motherly quality. And the thought process and your mind becomes very much aggressive or emotional. That kind of an enemy. Now the Venus was sitting in one more enemy, that is the Sun. The Sun characters becomes aggressive. He will dominate everybody in the world. Because of that, the leadership quality will come. And authority is another part of them. Okay, based on this knowledge, we'll see this one. Okay, when the Venus was in the Simha Rasi, they are calm and poised. This one will definitely will think you how come this is possible. Okay, imagine you are sitting in your enemy's place, and you will try to be joyful, all right? But remember, Venus was a very joyful person. Venus want to enjoy all kind of the fun thing in the world. That kind of the person was sitting in the enemy's house. Definitely, they become a very much be restricted, but this is not a restriction. Their energy becomes very calm. They don't want to joyfully enjoy. They become very much calm, and they direct their energy towards the devotion. Most of the time, they direct their energy in a very good way. And because of that, they're balanced. You remember when the Venus was in the moon, their emotional state was not that much good. The sensitive level is really high. They will definitely will go emotional drama once in their lifetime. But here their personality was balanced. Why? Because the Sun's energy was holding them. They won't go this much one side like Venus. They won't go this much sympathy level like Moon. The Sun will hold their energy and balance themselves. Definitely, when the okay, one more thing. Venus is the benefic graha, and the Sun. Venus is the benefic graha, and the Sun is the malefic graha. Malefic means aggressive. Aggressiveness will come, but the Surya is the leader. Venus is an acharya. Definitely, they are a well-mannered person. And the warm-hearted zeal of life means because the Venus energy for having a fun in the life and is also sitting in a leader's house. Definitely, they have the warm-hearted, compassionate, and determined. This comes from the part of the Sun's energy. When the Venus was doing anything, it becomes compassionate. But the determination will comes from the Sun's energy. When anything was the determination is also part of the Venus because the Sukracharya goes against the any conventional method, and he take one path and he choose his path. He determined to go in that path. That same kind of story will come into Venus also. Whatever we learned about the Sukracharya story, the significant characters will come into the Jataka also when the Venus was in the Simha. Strong desire of self-expression because this is because of the combination of the Venus and the Sun. Okay, this is one interesting thing. Luck from the women. This is from the why luck from the women? Venus represents the young girls. Venus represents the women. When that was sitting in this, that is the Sun's energy, you may get the luck from the women. So till now, any doubt? All good?
No.
Yeah.
Okay. We almost done. Among the three, if you have any doubt, we'll see that. Okay, from the Kanya, we'll see from next section.
Okay.
These three, Gemini and the Karka and the Simha, any doubt?
No.
That's awesome. Okay, we'll see you all in the next class then.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vanita.
Thank you, Vinay.
Bye.
Thank you.